Hey, what's up? If you can, give me a thumbs up. It helps me out. What's up, Jose Mendoza? Hit the thumbs up if you can. Thank you. Thank you for the thumbs up. Awesome. I appreciate that. What would you like to talk about? Jose, what would you like to talk about why I eat? And if you'd like, I can give you a couple topics that I like to talk about. If you'd like for me to give you a topic for discussion, let me know. Okay, so, how old are you? Give or take. And if you don't want to tell me your exact age, you can say under 20 or over 20. Okay, so you're a little bit older. You're more mature. Okay, cool. Well, the thing is, when I do these streams, I get people all the way from 9 years old to 60 years old. So I'm trying to be more aware of when I have like younger viewers in the chat. But anyways, okay, so this is Mind, Music, and Muscle. I'm currently bulking, so I am tired, I trained earlier, and I'm just eating a bunch of food, building some muscle. That's what I'm doing. Now, Mind, Music, and Muscle, the idea of this channel is to talk about a few subjects. The first subject is your mind. I like to talk about philosophy. Anything with quantum physics to science to religion. I love the topics of is God real? I love talking to people who are atheists, who are agnostics, who are religious, not to try to fight, but simply to get people to try to think deeper on hard subjects. I like that. So we can talk about that. And what I offer is a conversation, not trying to be right, not trying to be wrong, just having a conversation. That's kind of one of the things. Music theory is something I try to do from time to time. I like music theory. That's fair, right? I got nothing against Christianity. I was raised in the church, right? I don't really care what someone's religion is personally. I'm just always, what I like to know is I like to know why people believe what they believe. I have my own views, but in general, I like to ask tough, uncomfortable questions in an environment where it's comfortable to talk about uncomfortable things. That's what I try to bring to YouTube. I like to talk about nutrition. If you want to talk about bulking or cut it, I'm a certified personal trainer and sports nutritionist. So I do like that. So those are some things we can talk about. Oh, hi. What is up, Shane? I'm eating again because how many meals should one eat if he is skinny and should eat to bulk up? Brother, you in my wheelhouse, because I was 150 pounds in high school. Shane, I'm going to answer that question for you, but I'm going to need you to hit me a thumbs up. All I need you to do is to give me payment for that information, and your payment is a thumbs up. You give me a thumbs up, I'll answer that question. What a deal. What a deal. That's what I'm talking about, Shane. Excuse me, for sure. So I'm a certified trainer and sports nutrition coach. I was a skinny little fucker in high school, sorry. I'm gonna do my best not to cuss in this video. I was a skinny little pencil neck guy. Done and subscribe. Yo, thanks for that. So I'll give you that information. So I am a professional coach. That's what I do for a living, right? So I have clients, I coach them, all blah, 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 blah. Was in the Navy. I've had like 18, 20 years of experience. So I'm gonna give you the real deal. Okay, how old are you-ish, right? So I can kind of get an idea of where your time horizon is and how are you currently eating, and are you weight training, and do you play sports? I am watching an American football game. It's Texans versus the Colts. Cool. You look really like a coach. Good. Good. Because I am a coach. So good. And as you can see, I am eating my meal, which is a sports person, okay? And I'm gonna get into this. I've got me a Dave's Killer Bagel. We had 13 pounds of ham, so I'm eating small pieces of ham with all my meal as my protein. Normally, I wouldn't eat so much ham, but I live in the real world. Instead of throwing the food away, I take the extra ham and make dishes with it. And because I'm a big believer as an athlete, you need more carbs and fats. Healthy. Okay, oh, Shane, you're 35? Okay. I mean, healthy. Listen, when you're trying to build muscle and mass on your body, I don't even know if that's healthy. But what I do know is having muscle is good. It helps regulate your hormones. But at the end of the day, if you want to be healthy, I wouldn't eat as much as I do. From a sports nutrition standpoint, I think you're healthier if you fast, you give your body times when you don't eat, and you let your body do that. Now, I fast every year. Every few months, I take a few weeks or a few days where I really just clean my system out. So I do that. But when I'm trying to grow, you gotta eat calories. So, sport, no, but weight training, yes. Had some knee surgery. Okay, so the knee surgery, was it your patella tendon? Was it your meniscus? Was it your ACL, your MCL, or your PCL? One of those 5 things in the knee. Guys, if you're enjoying this conversation with Coach Chris, that's me, give me a thumbs up. If you want to ask me a question, just give me a thumbs up. Okay, ACL, okay. Oh, so we have that, and then we had a question before that. Jose, what did Jose ask before? Jose asked me a question. So I'm going to answer this for both of y'all. Okay, look, it depends on how you train, okay? Do either one of you care about how strong you are? Like, do you just want to go in there and do you want to be the alpha male in the gym? You just want to lift some heavy weights, bro. It's all about the poundage. Are you one of those people, or are you more like, hey, I care more about how I look more than I perform? So, okay, cool. Because look, I'm close to 40 years old, and when I was in high school, I was 150 pounds. And over 10 years in the Navy, I built myself up to 300 pounds before I had a life-changing accident and herniated my discs in my back. So I can tell you, there's more than one way to skin a cat. So what you need to do is you need to change your mindset on how you think about food and training for most people, okay? The way I approach nutrition is this. You take your body weight and you multiply it times 10, times 15, and times 20. You multiply your body weight times 15, that's the middle. So think of a gauge, a 10, a 15, and a 20, okay? Body weight times 10 is if you kind of want to cut. Body weight times 15 if you want to maintain, and body weight times 20 if you want to bulk. So think of your body weight and multiply it times 20. That's kind of the bare minimum amount of food I would eat most days if I'm seriously training in the gym and I'm doing volume training. And I'm a big believer that if you want to get bigger, more importantly, larger versus strength. Okay, yeah, okay. So, for example, I weigh 230 pounds at 6'4". Okay, at 230, the bare minimum I'm gonna eat when I wanna cut weight is like 2,000, 2,300 calories. And I feel like death. When I only eat 2,000, 2,200 calories, like I feel like death. I'm like, I can drag. But when I wanna put on weight, I kind of get more up to 4,000 to 5,000 calories. And even some days, I'll even go up to 6,000 or 7,000 if I'm training twice a day. Now, I hope that makes sense. Now, here's the thing too. It's not necessarily how many meals you eat. It's how many calories you get at the end of the day, right? And I don't know what 67 means. I don't know what that means. Everybody keeps putting that. I don't know what that means, and I really don't care, to tell you the truth. So I live in a world where, that stuff just doesn't matter to me. Anyways, you got to think about when you go to the gym, does your body have water and glycogen, and are you full, right? Or do you guys know what glycogen is? Can you look in the mirror and be like, oh, I'm flat or I'm full? Like, have you ever gone out when you were younger, went out all night, drank a bunch of alcohol, and then you dehydrated yourself and you wake up the next morning and you're 10 pounds lighter because you've been pissing all night, you ate protein, right? You lose that water. That's good when you want to show what you look like. But when you're building muscle, like the volume, sarcoplasmic hypertrophy versus myofibular, you want to look at nutrition as how can I eat more to get the nutrients in my body ready so when I go to the gym and target a muscle, I can put nutrient-rich blood into a target area of my body. The process of doing that will promote sarcoplasmic hypertrophy and increase the surface area of a spot on your body. That's kind of how you need to think about it. So, for example, I would take powdered Gatorade and pasta and carbs, and I would eat 200 or 300 grams before I train. And you want some protein and fat, but guys, you don't need as much protein. If you're trying to bulk, don't pay attention to your protein. Trust me, if you're eating meat, you're eating cheese, you're eating pasta, and heaven forbid you drink a glass of whole milk a couple times a day, you're getting plenty of protein, right? Too much protein in the nutrition world causes ammonia spikes, and it can put some extra stress on the kidneys. Not to say that you can't get away with eating a lot of protein, but if you're training or you're big and you're strong, you need more energy. Remember, muscles are 70% water, 70%. Understood? Okay. So you need to think, okay, now you have exercise selection. Some people are going to tell you compound movements are the way to grow mass. Well, I can tell you firsthand, if you get stronger with compound movements and you're under 6 foot tall, probably. But when you're over 6 foot tall, or you have long arms like I do, a lot of times you don't have very good levers to lift weight because of physics. And typically you'll do better from isolation work if all you care about is growing your body. That doesn't mean you can't do compounds like dumbbells and push-ups and pull-ups, but realistically, right, you're 6'2". I already knew that. I already knew you were taller. You didn't tell me that. The reason I knew that is because you've probably been weight training, doing compound lifts, eating too much protein, not enough energy, and not doing enough isolation. I know because I'm 6'4", dude. I get it. And you probably, if you're anything like me and you're taller, you need to understand that you don't have the levers of someone 5'8", 5'9". When they have shorter levers, they have an advantage of stability. When a weight is further away from, like when somebody with short arm bench presses, they do this. When you bench press, you got to go twice as far. So distance, the weight moving a further distance is a form of progressive overload. You get what I'm saying? I knew both of y'all were taller because every person I train, look, I've been doing this for almost 20 years. And not to say you couldn't be shorter, but when you're 5'5", 5'6", 5'7", 5'8", there's a reason most Olympia guys are like 5'8", 5'9", 5'10". When you have shorter levers, it's easier to push heavier weight because the weight is closer to your body, to your center mass. Now, this is the difference between powerlifting and bodybuilding. In powerlifting, all you care about, yeah, it's pretty good. I'm a pretty good coach, right? I'm not trying to be arrogant, but I did nail that. So, also, if you're looking for a coach, you can message me on Instagram and I can write you a program. I do charge those programs. To write you a 12-week program, it costs like $100. So if you want me to make a customized program, it's $100. And if you want a nutrition plan with it, it's another 100. And that's basically my program. And then you can run that program over and over. So if you want me to write you a program, message me on Instagram and I'll take a day or so, because I don't do a copy and paste template. What I do is I actually take what you are doing and I customize it. Now, that being said, you're under no obligation to buy a program from me. But if you want the real in-depth detail, that's how you get it. But for the sake of this video, we'll discuss concepts. Fair enough? I'm gonna heat this cheese up on my bagel real quick. So, give you an example of how important food is. When I first started bulking, I thought it was all about protein, but I was wrong. You see my food? Look at my foods. A couple eggs, mashed potatoes, rice, steak and rice, carbs, fruit. It's about energy, guys. All right. It's about energy. When you're tall and you're larger and you have longer fibers, you're gonna deplete your glycogen so fast. So you gotta play the game of how do I keep my glycogen reservoirs full? Also, let me give you a free tip for the guys in the chat. Honey is your best friend. Before you train, energy is kind of important. Yeah, energy is kind of important, man. You see, the thing what people don't realize is when you eat a bunch of protein, look, why do people say you need protein? You need amino acids. Now, I'm not against eating 0.08, like 1 to 1.5 kilograms of body weight. So take your body weight, right, and eat protein 1 to 1.5 kgs of that, or 0.08 times your LBM. You don't need a lot of protein. What you need is more energy and you need more stimulus. You need more energy to give a proper stimulus, and then after the proper stimulus, then the amino acids and protein get to work. But if you eat a bunch of protein and it doesn't convert well into good usable energy, then how are you gonna have the energy to give the stimulus in the gym? Kind of see how that works? Kind of think about that. Think about that. Also, whole milk. Raw, non-homogenized if you can get it. But if you want to increase your caloric intake, get a couple tablespoons of peanut butter. Gulp, gulp. Get you a sip of milk. And then eat you some honey. Now you gotta remember, I'm bulking and I train twice a day. And everybody in the gym, well, do you know what the law, hey Jose, do you know what the law of diminishing returns means? You ever heard the law of diminishing returns? And sleep, okay. And sleep is important too. Like if I train twice a day, I eat about 5,000 calories. I take a nap midday, and I split my sessions up between 6 hours, right? But that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. I don't expect most people to do that. It's not required. You'll get some of your best results training full body every other day and just eating on days like full body or upper body today, full body rest, full body rest, full body rest, or upper body, lower body rest, upper body, lower body rest. And days that you rest, eat more food. Now, if you've been training for a while and you have some work capacity, you can split into a body part split, but you gotta eat and you gotta sleep. Right. So, but you don't need as much sleep as you think. You need deeper sleep. So one of the hacks is this: take a 30-minute nap, right? It's the same, Shane. It's Mind, Music, and Muscle. It's the same logo. I'm a certified master trainer, right? Not trying to toot my own horn, but I've been doing this a long time. I learn every day. I study. I'm always reading. What's up, Candy? Nice to see you again. Do I remember you? I'm trying to remember. Candy. I try to remember everybody that comes in the chat. But I'm in the conversation right here with Jose and Shane. So, now you got to remember, you got to remember too, I'm not in my peak condition right now. I've never been the same after I had my herniated discs. So what I had to learn to do is I had to learn to grow my body without squats and deadlifts. I still do them, but I can't do them with a lot of weight. So what I do is I load up isolations. I study kinesiology and understand how the body works. And my specialty is figuring out, like, if someone wants to grow their body, like, for example, if you don't care about having large legs, you can train your upper body more often. But if you're an athlete or like an NFL player, like a linebacker, and you hire me to train you, then it's like, I'm going to train you differently than someone who just wants to look good in the mirror. It's totally different. So much. Makes you always want to do that? There's a lot to learn, man. I've been studying this stuff for close to 2 decades, and every day I learn something new. But let me tell you why protein is so important in y'all, and not important, but let me tell you why protein is thought to be so important. You do need protein, obviously, because protein has amino acids. But when Arnold Schwarzenegger and Frank Columbu and Joe Weider opened up Gold's Gym, they had contracts with supplement companies to push protein. The protein company spikes their... If you don't get protein that's third-party tested or whey isolate quality, you're basically wasting your money. If you're not going to spend your money on whey isolate pure protein, then just eat real food. Get bagels, real bread. You went to the gym? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I went to the gym earlier. I did, today was my rest day. So I did my own little routine. I can go over that later if you want, kind of what I did. But my routines in the gym, I get some footage of it here and there. Most of the times when I'm in the gym, people come up to me and say, hey, you know that's not how you use the machine. Because a lot of times when I'm in the gym, I'm experimenting with different movements. So if you need to make your knee stronger, what you need to do is you need to focus on stability. You need to stand on one leg and do a one-legged hinge and make sure your hamstrings are strong. Now, if your hamstrings are strong or your quads are strong, you need to know, are you stronger with your hamstrings, which are a pulling muscle, or are you stronger with your quads, which is a pushing muscle? And you need to train wherever pain is on the knee. Let's say the pain is here on the knee, like coming up. If you have your leg and you push your foot down, so your knee is here, you push it down and there's pain, then you need to train the opposite. And if you lift your knee up and there's pain, you need to train it down. Now you can do that with the reverse hyper. You can do the one-legged hip extension. You can do internal rotations with the knee. You can take a tennis ball, put it behind the knee, and you can crack it. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff you can do for the knee. But without me being there, I do remember something from Florida in that. So here's the thing. At my largest, I was 300 pounds with a 700-pound deadlift. I was pretty large. I was big and thick. Heavy weight will make you thick. There's no doubt about it. But you don't have to do deadlifts and squats. You need to learn how to progressively put more tension on the targeted muscle. Mechanical tension drives hypertrophy. Powerlifting and athletics is not really about hypertrophy, it's about output, power output. And that's why you can see some big guys in the gym who aren't very strong and some little guys in the gym who are very strong. There's leverage, there's output, there's aesthetics. And I don't want to get into the nuances because this is kind of like what I do for a living, right? People pay me for it. So all of these nuances, it took me close to 20 years to kind of see how people train, read the literature, take the test, get the certifications, watch the athletes, have a diverse range between culture, ethnicity, age. And basically what I noticed is you got to know what you're training for. Oh, cool, I like Texas. Well, that's what I mean. Some people only care about muscles, but that's the thing. Look. Can we have a house tour? No. Sometimes we will. No, I'm doing a quick little video. We're going to talk, and I'm probably going to take a nap. I'll probably go back to the gym. I'm bulking right now, so I'm actually trying to put on size. So all I'm doing is eating. I train in the morning. I do some business. I wake up about 4 a.m. I eat. Then I eat again. Then I do some work. Then I eat. Then I go to the gym. Then I eat. Then I get back. Then I do some work. Then I eat. Then I get ready. Then I do some work. Then I eat. Then I take a nap. And I go back to the gym. I'm not saying you have to do that, but I do what they call the callus principle. The derpy fellow. Yep. I don't have the best genetics, guys. I work my ass off to stay looking as good as I do. I work my ass off, dude. Now, you don't have to do that. I love training. I love training so much that when I'm in a bad mood, I go to the gym or play piano. When I'm upset, I like to go get a little pump. You know what I mean? I climb coconut trees and work them legs, bro. You climb coconut trees? That's crazy. I couldn't do that. After I hurt my back, my ability to be really strong dramatically went down. So what I did was I got into pump training and figured out a way for me to eat certain foods, take snaps, and engorge my muscles with blood. And that led to hypertrophy. And I'm weaker now than I've ever been, but I look better now than I used to look. Like when I was big and strong, I was kind of fat, but big and strong. But when you want to lift heavy weight, that's kind of part of it. But I'm almost 40, guys, I'm almost 40 years old, right? I'm almost 40, okay? I'm not in my 20s. I'm not in my early 30s. Oh yeah, I've been implementing calisthenics. Absolutely. Makes sense. You climb coconut trees and you do calisthenics. And yeah, and you probably do some bodybuilding at home. See, that's a great routine because if you can do high rep calisthenics, you're gonna look good and athletic. Now the question is, how many calories are you eating? And if you were trying to get larger or get smaller, could you manipulate the calories to grow or get smaller? That's where the trick comes in, because your body can handle a lot of stress. And if you live in the real world, you're not gonna, like if you're, yeah. Form beats reps. Yeah. I don't think it's form versus reps. I think form is probably more important, but you can't underestimate reps too. Because even if you have someone doing curls like this, and they do enough of these curls, they're going to get some activation. And if you have someone who does curls like this, super slow, sometimes form can kill you. Don't pay attention to the form. Pay attention to like music. Figure out what feels good. Do like 1 banana, 2 banana, 3 banana, 4 banana. Like if you're doing like sometimes when I'm pressing and I just want to grow my chest, the trainers will tell you go all the way down, full stretch, and go all the way up. I grew my chest bigger when I did shorties, when I did partials. And all I did was when I did this, I put my finger, you see how my chest kind of pops up right there? I put my finger on my chest and I try to contract it. And if I come here, that contraction goes away. So all I literally do with the weight is think about where that muscle's contracting, and I think about every time it's contracting, I'm squeezing blood into it. Blood, 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 blood. If I do this all the way up and down, I'm 6'4". I have a 6'7" wingspan. All that does is grind my shoulders. Do not listen. I'm a professional trainer. If I tell you to do an exercise and it hurts your shoulder or your knee, don't do it. What you got to do is you got to feel where the tension is in your body. Like, can you flex your bicep? Can you flex your calf? Can you flex your chest? Can you flex your shoulder? Can you flex your rhomboid? You got to flex and squeeze that muscle and then get some weight to add tension to it. That's what's going to grow your muscles full. It's not necessarily going to make you the strongest, but it's what's going to cause a full muscle. Assuming that you're actually eating enough carbs and fats and you're drinking enough water and you're eating enough salt and minerals to get a pump. The pump, remember, muscles grow from 3 ways: metabolic stress, muscle damage, and mechanical tension, right? Oh, that's pretty crazy. You can do splits. There you go. I actually think if you stretch more, you can sometimes, if you have more flexibility, I think a lot of times there's more room for muscle growth the more flexible you are. However, flexibility is not as important for muscle growth as mobility, because over flexibility can actually decrease hypertrophy. But what you want to focus on is stability, mobility, and have a baseline of flexibility. Most of the most flexible people, if they were to work on mobility more than flexibility, which are 2 different things, right? So, it's a give or take, man. You can't have everything. Very few people can, right? So, like for example, if I want to grow my back on pull-ups, right, I may do some sets like this. If I go straight up and I hang and go all the way up, I'm not going to grow my back doing that. When I'm going to grow my back is when I do this. Squeeze. just right there. And people are going to say, oh, that's a partial range of motion. Yeah, well, I may be doing a partial here, but then in another exercise, I may be doing this. Then in another exercise, I may do this. And I'm a big believer in a lot of volume. I believe in pumping as much blood into a target area as possible. But then by doing that, you can't do that and be in ketosis. You need to have carbohydrates and sugar. And you need to use that energy and have that blood put into the muscle. Now, again, that's not going to make you the strongest person in the gym, but it's going to make you look what most people will consider more aesthetic. That's kind of a summary. Now, there's lots of different ways to train, and the best program you'll ever have is the one you write for yourself, right? And don't think of it about how many meals do I need to eat? How many of this? Is how many calories are you eating in a day? Have a rough number. And if you're tired and you feel flat and you're not full, eat more sugar. Not processed garbage sugar, but let me show you one of my favorites I'll do. I'll take a frozen banana. I'll eat like a bagel. And then I'll take some frozen peaches, some frozen blueberries, and I'll mix that with some milk and maybe a scoop of protein. I don't need more than 25 grams of protein in a smoothie. For example, I'll make one real quick. Right? I'll show you exactly how I would make a smoothie. Where's my cup? Somebody been in my kitchen. I think my mom or sister came over to the house. Anyways, let's see. All right, put this over here. Let me give you an example of a smoothie that I would make, okay, if I was gonna bulk. Yes, my goal is to do a handstand push-up, and I'm very close. One-handed push-ups, yeah. I eat sugar cane. I mean, I think pure sugar cane would be a good sugar. I mean, anything that comes from earth in that sense would probably be okay. But if you're doing all the stuff that you said you're doing, then to be fair, I think you could eat whatever you want, man. So anyways, I'll do this. So I'll take some frozen peaches, right? Peaches have 1 cup is 50 calories. So to get about 5,000 calories a day for me is a little tough. So let me put that in there. There we go. So here, I'll take some frozen peaches, right? Frozen peaches, just a few of them, right? Let me show you how I would bulk. Some frozen peaches. I'll take some frozen peaches. I've got some whole milk, whole, organic, non-GMO, locally grown farm milk. Now, again, you don't have to use protein powder, but if you're going to, it doesn't hurt. So I'll take 1 scoop of 25 grams away. All right. Now, if I'm trying to stay leaner, I would use PB2. If I'm not trying to stay leaner, I will say, screw the PB2 and use real peanut butter, but someone took my peanut butter. Who took my peanut butter, you bastards? Anyways, looks like we'll be using PB2. 1 scoop of creatine, 2 scoops of creatine. Remember, creatine is phosphate energy. Creatine is more important than protein. Trust me on that. Another little bit of creatine here. Well, bam. So essentially, it's milk, frozen fruit, and then, here's some PB2. I'll put 1 of those 2 of those, 3 of those. Now, this isn't a meal. This is a snack between meals. This is a snack between meals. You get what I'm saying? So I'll take that, right? Well, bam. I mean, that's pretty clean, right? For a bulk. So I may have 2 or 3 of these in a day. I'll drink 3 of these, eat a bunch of eggs, rice, pasta. Yeah, but if you think creatine is just about holding water from a sports nutrition standpoint, that is true. It does promote some hypo absorption, some hypoplasia in the cell. Technically, it's not hyperplasia, but whatever. It's your phosphate energy system. It's your phosphate energy system. Creatine gives you more phosphate. Phosphate is your energy system that you need when you do high intensity or high volume work. So the more creatine you have, the more you can saturate your muscles, the bigger pump you can get. The pump elicits metabolic stress, and those metabolites send a signal to release IGF-1 and growth hormone, and that is what grows muscle when you do high volume and reps. Whether you're taking steroids or not, it works the same. That's how it works. Yep. So remember, you have your phosphate energy system. When you want to do something fast or you want to pump your muscle, the more creatine you have, ATP, adenine triphosphate, ATP, your body has adenine bi, ABT, and creatine gives you extra phosphate. So when your natural reserves of creatine and when your natural reserves of phosphate get depleted, you have a external reserve of phosphate so you can keep ATP up. But I also know that creatine, yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, and I'm doing all this not Googling. This is just off my head. I mean, I am a certified master trainer. 2 decades. Again, I'm not saying I know everything because I don't. I'm constantly learning every single day because it's kind of like, I think it's cool. I'm the only person in my family that's not like fat or dying of diabetes. And I eat more food than anybody I know. I eat sugar every day. And 20% of the time I eat whatever I want. But 80% of the time, it's whole food. And I don't really care about my protein. I care about my energy. How do I feel when I'm training? How do I feel? Do I have energy? Cool. Am I getting some fat on me? Okay, pull back on the energy. Am I too lean? Okay, bump up the energy. Right? Don't make it more complicated than that, guys. Don't make it more complicated than that. Thermodynamics. Yeah. Never said I know everything. A lot of people think I'm arrogant. I'm not arrogant. I'll be the first. If I don't know something, I'll be the first to say, I don't know. But chances are I've read at least 100 articles on the topic that you ask. Right? And you got to think, I don't have the best genetics for getting big. I have a big frame, but the thing that I learned mostly that I wish I would have known before I hurt my back deadlifting back when I was 300 pounds, right? I wish I would have known this concept. I wish I would have known that instead of just ripping heavy weight all the time, I wish I would have understood volumization and how to pump blood into the muscle, not doing full ranges of motion, but doing all ranges of motion. Sometimes you do partials or shorties. Sometimes you do longs. And think of lifting weights like playing an instrument, right? You play an instrument, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E. So think about lifting weights and tempo and distances as an activity of getting your body to circulate blood and pump all the resources into a targeted area. If you can manipulate your blood flow and you eat a lot, that is what grows muscle. It took me like 10 years to figure that out. And by that time, I'd kind of hurt my back. Now, I'd got up pretty big just deadlift. Like, if you want to get big, just get a big deadlift. But that's not the only way to do it. There's other ways to do it. All right, so now's that. Feedback. You guys give me some feedback. You got me to go on a rant? Ooh, that smells so good. It smells like a frozen peaches PB2. PB2 is basically peanut butter that's been stripped away. Because somebody took my peanut butter. Somebody took my peanut butter. I'd use PB2. But it's probably better because I slammed about 2,000. I've already eaten about 4,500 calories today, and it's 4 p.m. So realistically, I should probably not eat the full fat, right? I wish I could eat it. I promise you, if you were here, I would give you some. I don't believe you're taking a break to go climb a coconut tree. I don't think that's true, but I like the story. Well, I'll tell you what, Coconut Man, put a video up of you doing a one-handed handstand and tag me. Put at Mind, Music, and Muscle. Fireheart, I changed my account and I was on my girl Candy. Oh, Candy, yeah, okay, Candy from Florida. Hi, what's that drink? He said, nah, I'm going. There's only so much coconuts to pick in a day. Rah, 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 rah. Nah, but that derpy fellow. Yeah. Just remember, I can, I will. So this is a shake I just made. It's frozen peaches, whole milk, PB2, some creatine, and basically I put 1 scoop of whey isolate because why not? I don't think you need protein powder. I think it's helpful, yeah. But at the end of the day, you need carbs and fats and energy to pump up the muscle. Muscle is 70% water, not protein. Like, you don't need as much protein as all these people say. If you eat all that protein, you're going to feel like doo-doo. I'm telling you. And when you eat more, when you need that extra protein is when you want to stay lean. Like, if you want to get really big, or let's take that back. Let's say you're happy with your muscle, but you want to get leaner. That's when you add more protein to get leaner. But you don't want to stay like that all the time, man. It's going to put too much stress on your body. High protein gives you ammonia. Like, I'm 230 pounds at 6'4", and I probably eat, 200 grams of protein a day. And I've gone as high as 600 grams a day. And there's literally no difference except I have more energy to train when I eat less total protein. Instead, I focus on my carbs and my fats. And then when I'm hungry, I eat. And another thing too is you should pay attention to if you're, do you wake up with an erection if you're a guy? That's something pretty important. Like, every morning I wake up with morning wood, which is great. So for me, if I cut my calories low, if I eat too much protein, I don't wake up with morning wood. And to me, that's a sign that, well, something's happening in my body that's not good. So you gotta look in the mirror. You gotta understand, how much food your body is absorbing. These are all things that you gotta pay attention to if you want to train. Now, is there anybody in the chat that has a question? We had 6 thumbs ups. Thank you for the thumbs ups. I appreciate that. We're only going to go for about 8 more minutes. I'm trying to get monetized. I started streaming recently, and I've got close to 1,620 watch hours, and I need 3,000 to get monetized. And I'm closing in on 3,665 subscribers. So help me get monetized as I'm tracking what it's like to be a trainer, go to the gym, and busting all these fitness myths where people say you have to have all this protein. No, you don't, man. You don't need all that protein, man. It's about calories. I get most of my protein from milk and cheese. Milk and cheese is great to me. Yeah, I think I have like 3,000. I've got 3,600 something subscribers, but I'm not monetized. Oh, I've been doing videos for 10 years. But it wasn't until I started streaming that I started growing a little bit. But if I don't get monetized by the end of next year, I'm probably going to quit YouTube. So if you enjoy this content and you want to keep, allowing me to have these conversations with you, then, help me get monetized. Come to the chat, subscribe, put notification bells on. And, sometimes I play piano too. I play some music. But what I really enjoy with you guys is just talking, I love sitting here and just talking to strangers and kind of picking your brain. And I haven't made a single penny off YouTube. I have not made a single penny off YouTube. And I'm still streaming. But I'm getting to the point where, I'm not the best editor. I'm not making the videos to try to look crazy and all. But I'm going to stream as much as I can until the end of next year. And if I'm not monetized by then, I'm done. So, there we go. Peaches and walnuts are so good. You like piano? You like the recorder? I used to play the recorder. I got a piano over there. Well, it's technically not a piano, it's a digital keyboard, but here. You said you like piano? Again, I'm self-taught. I am self-taught, so don't be too critical of me. Self-taught, don't be too critical, but I do try. Let's see. There you go. That's one. Here's one that I wrote. Thanks. Here's one I wrote. Let me put one layer on it. Da, da, da. Let's see. Maybe it's better from this angle. Ooh, burp. I wrote this one recently. me see if I can find a better one right here. Thanks, man. Nice, thanks, man. Oh, OCF's back. Cool, baby. I'm not your baby, but okay, what's up? Not your baby, what's up? Yeah, so I like cinematic music for sure. I find myself like... Here we go. So, da 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 most of my life's been pretty chaotic and hellbound and very violent. So when I write my music, I kind of have two modes. I either kind of like death metal to really get it going, or I seek to compose music that keeps me calm. When I can stay calm, I feel like I'm more productive. Or you can be like this. Or something like John Legend or Ed Sheeran. I found the love for me. Darling, just dive right in. Follow my lead. Da 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 did it now in love. Not knowing what it was. I will not give you up this time. Something like that. Ed Sheeran's good. You got John Legend. How many times do I have to tell you? Even when you're crying, you're beautiful too. You got your head spinning. No kidding. I can't bring you down. What's going on in that beautiful mind? I'm on your magical mystery ride, and I'm so dizzy. Don't know what hit me, but I'll be alright. Beating you down, I'm around through every turn. many times do I have to tell you? Even when you're crying, you're beautiful too. Oh, or when I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, whispers words of wisdom, let it be. Or one that I wrote. What's up? Hi. I wrote this one, same thing from, pretty much the same thing as, this is literally the same thing as Let It Be. So, when I find myself in times, when I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, whispers words of wisdom. Now watch this. You say, holiday season once again. Grab a family and grab a friend. Holiday season once again. Grab a family and grab a friend. Some people are not here this year. Life decided to make them clear. Remember the memories. Come now and come and see. So I found myself in some times of trouble. Mother Mary came to me. She said, whispered words of wisdom, let it be. And then Billy Joel came up and he said, da 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 da. Sit at the bar, and they sit at the bar and put bread in my jar and say, man, what are you? Bells jingle all the way. There you go. He said, sorry, I accidentally left and came back. Yeah, so there's a little bit of stuff. So when I'm not training, I kind of like to play piano sometimes. But I'm self-taught, and I'm kind of limited to what I can play. But Ed Sheeran's good. I like that song. My ex-wife, I used to play that song for my ex-wife before she destroyed my heart. Before she destroyed my heart. I used to be a lot happier, but now I'm kind of more, I'm pretty happy now, but I think she took a lot of my joy away. And ever since that divorce, man, I've been trying to fill that void. It's not really going well. So, don't get married, guys. Yeah, once I got my divorce, man, I lost my best friend. Anyways, it is what it is, but I don't drink and I don't smoke. I quit smoking, but every time I start thinking about my ex-wife, all I want to do is start smoking again. So I'm trying to stay sober. So that's kind of why we go to the gym. Somebody just sent me a text message. Let me check my text real quick. Give me a second. And we're back. Sorry about that. And we're back. Sorry about that. Is smoking bad for you? That's actually a topic I have with people. Yes, smoking. Oh! Smoking tar is not good, but nicotine in isolation, from a sports nutritionist standpoint, nicotine in isolation has been shown to regenerate and be neuroprotective in the brain. So I'm not going to say that smoking is good for you. Right. However, I think that there's a misunderstanding in the world. Nicotine in isolation is not as bad for you as you think. It's not great, but nicotine in isolation has a lot of neuroregenerative effects. But that being said, nicotine by itself is also a constrictor. But you know what else is a constrictor of the vessels? Is caffeine. Caffeine is just as bad for your blood vessels. And vaping? Well, vaping is probably the worst thing you can do. Vaping is not very good for you. Nah, if you're sensitive with your body or you can feel your body, when I used to vape, I got to the point after my divorce that I was vaping so much, I was coughing up blood. So there was a point where I was vaping so much, I literally would cough blood up in the sink and still vape. So I don't think that's good for you. It is what it is. However, nicotine in isolation, like if you put nicotine in a capsule or on a patch and you get it in your system, it's got some pretty interesting research behind it. Now, me personally, I do better when I don't smoke any weed, don't smoke any cigarettes, and don't consume alcohol. And then if I do that, when you were little, your uncle vaped. Vaping's been around that long? I thought you said you were like 40 years old. Didn't you say you were like 35 years old? Vaping's only been around for like 10 years. What do you mean? Like 20 years ago? Has vaping been around that long? You said when I was little, my uncle vaped. So if you're 35 and you're little, that's 20 years ago. I don't know if that makes sense or not. Well, I don't know. I guess vaping's been around for 15 years, maybe. I was just thinking about the time, how long has vaping been around? I could look it up. I know how to use AI. I know how to use Google to look things up. I tell you guys, I try to learn as much as I can and not rely on AI. You don't want to rely on a tool like that. Anyways, I'm thinking about going back and pumping up my chest later, because I'm telling you, earlier this morning, I basically just went through the motions and did like a full body stimulus training. And the more you stimulate the body, the faster it grows, man. And the reason if you want to grow muscle, the reason a split works better than a full body, if you have the time. If you don't have the time to train every day for 30 minutes to an hour, don't do a split. Do a full body or upper body, lower body, or push-pull leg. But if you look at your body in the mirror and you're like, I want this part of my body to grow, you go into the gym and you figure out what parts of your body you want to grow, and then you take your best body parts and you pull back off of them. You only have so many resources. So you find the areas that you want to grow and you focus on those, and you can train those 2 or 3 times a week. But you can only do that, like my legs are my best body part, my legs and my shoulders. Huge legs. I got freaky large shoulders. It's because when I first learned to bench press, I didn't use my chest. The first 10 years of bench pressing, I used my shoulders because I was kind of, probably like the first 7 years. So I grew these abnormally large delts, biceps, and back with an undeveloped chest. And it was kind of funny, but I was a very good deadlifter and I was a good athlete because I always strong back and legs. Just is what's funny. But anyways, what I'm getting at is if you want your body to change, like people are like, oh, you shouldn't have an arm day. Well, if you want your arms to grow, you're going to get more size out of your arms from getting them to fill up with blood over and over and over again and getting them to gorge and building capillary systems and veins and arteries. And, you know, you only got so much muscle to deal with, like genetically. You only have so much. So instead of trying to rip it apart and rebuild it, try to do sarcoplasmic hypertrophy and increase the surface area. Increasing the surface areas is going to make you look bigger, right? It may not make you stronger, but as you get older, you can't lift heavy all the time. So let's say you want better calves, okay? Well, go in there and train calves. Like hit your calves and destroy it for like 20, 30 minutes of straight volume. And then after that, then you can hit rear delts, calves and rear delts. Cool, that sounds like a pathetic workout. But if those are the parts on your body that you need to grow, you need to focus on them, right? Let's say for me, I want to grow my chest and arms. I just want to get 20-inch arms. And my arms right now are like 17, 18-ish. I know I can get 2 more inches on my arms. There ain't no doubt about that. So I want to get 20-inch arms. So I have sessions where I just pump my arms up with as much blood as possible. I'm just saying that's what I do. If I want my chest to get bigger, I go in there and I focus on chest a few times a week. But if I tried to train my quads, my hamstrings, my back, my shoulders, my legs all the time, they're not going to get enough attention. I'll get stronger. I'll learn how to use them better. And I'm not saying not to do compound lifts because compound lifts are good. But when you want a portion of your body to grow, you need to isolate it. Like when you do squats ass to grass, that's not going to grow your quads as much as if you do them parallel. Sorry, it's not. It's biomechanics, right? You don't got to go all the way down and all the way up on an exercise. It's good to do that for your joints, to go down and up and make sure you have mobility and flexibility and stability. But once you have the stability, the mobility, and the flexibility, then, you know, you're kind of good. And if you want more mass, it's just about food, rest, and training. All right? And isolating. Isolation is the key to growth, especially if you're over 6 foot tall. Any tall guy, long legs, long arms, the longer your limbs, the better you're going to benefit from isolation. All right. Unless you're just like a John Havel, like a 6'8", 360-pound monster who bench presses like 400 pounds and shit. That's not me. I don't have the frame to do that kind of weight. I don't have the frame to do that. I'm pretty big. I'm a pretty large dude. Like I'm 6'4", 230 pounds, decently lean. I'm a pretty big dude. And I don't have the frame to lift all that weight. So instead of destroying my body and my joints, I found a better way to train. It works too. Oh, that's so good. Find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me. All right, one person to chat. That's good. 78 minutes. We got some more streaming time. Yeah. All right. Switch to close over. Are they done? Nice. Close are done. You guys want to know another secret? Guys, can we get 10 thumbs ups? Anybody that's in the chat? Another secret when you're training, you guys may not know this, but stay covered up. Keep your hoodie on, stay covered up, stay warm. Don't be cold when you train. Like, you can be cold when you train, but wear sweatpants, wear hoodies. Like, then when you get your pump, then you can take it off and be like, okay, what I got? I always tell people I always get better workouts, I get better pumps when I stay covered up. Because when you can't see a muscle and you close your eyes, you got to feel it. And so much of muscle growth, not for strength training, but so much of muscle growth is just about feeling a muscle. All right. Hope you guys had a good time. That's some good information.